Hi everybody, we are here to take a look at the Alpha Kids page for snare drum, finally, yay! But you'll notice that the title says level 1, 2, and 3. What happens is, not every song on the Alpha pages is good for the snare drums to play. So this is just songs that would be good to play with your friends. By the way, if you want to play by yourself, these are not the songs that will sound good at a concert. These are songs that will sound good when you play with your friends. So if you want to play something that sounds really impressive, play something from the 16ths and rolls page, or play something from one of our regular drum tests. Those will be more impressive than this. Okay? Alright, so as we do this, we're going to be joined by Mr. Rivera, and I'm going to go from a full-size picture magically to a tiny picture in the corner, like that. And we're now joined by what looks like the drum of Mr. Rivera. Give us a wave, Mr. Rivera. And he's going to be joining us as we go through this today. So, the first three songs are from the Alpha 1 page. The reason you can tell is the first number is a 1. So 11, 14, and 19. And then we'll do some from Alpha 2 and some from Alpha 3. And we're going to point out some stuff along the way. So, how are you doing, Mr. Vera?
Doing well.
You awake and alive?
I am.
All right. So let's take a look at number 11, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Some of my students have no idea what that is. That's from the original Mary Poppins movie, and it's just a fun song. Now, we're going to try to take everything at a medium tempo. We're not good at it. We try to take things too fast, and we'll try to keep it slow here. But take a look. Mr. Rivera, why don't you explain that very first measure with the X's and the regular notes there?
Yeah, of course. So the X's are going to be on your rim, and the little, of course, your quarter notes that we're used to seeing, that's going to be on your snare drum right there.
And so you take a look at measure 1, there are 1 and 2 and on the X's, and then on the ands you also see the snare. Play just the first 4 measures for us, Mr. Rivera.
Of course.
1, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Everybody get the idea? Great. Let's do this. So, and by the way, whenever you have a drummer, generally the drummer counts off for everybody to begin to play. So we're going to let Mr. Rivera count off on this today. Are you going to give us a 2-measure count off? Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah. I'll give it
In fact, we'll ask Mr. Rivera to do some different ways of counting off, because you can do it with sticks, you can do it with obviously with talking, and so we'll do some different things today just for fun. All right, count us off. Let's see if we... Okay, I'm ready now.
All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go.
Good. So obviously the main purpose of this is for you to see the drum and hear the drum part, but I'm going to play along just to make sure that you know what else is going on. Star Wars, the first thing you see is something with a 3 on top of 3 notes. This is called a triplet. When you put, instead of 2 8 notes on a beat, you can put 3 8 notes on a beat, and we call it a triplet, and you got to do those evenly. So right below there we wrote in triplet, 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 and that's how that works. So in Star Wars, triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4, triplet, right? And so that's where the triplet comes in there. Mr. Rivera, why don't you play the first few measures of that as well? 1, 2, go. Triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4, triplet, 1, 2, triplet, triplet, 1. Yeah. And so you get the idea of what we're going to be doing there. And then you notice in measure 10, yeah, measure 10, you see, what do you see there, Mr. Rivera?
See a little crescendo happening throughout there.
Oh, so measure 3. So would you play measure 9 and 10 and to the end just so they can hear that? 1, 2, measure 9, go. 3. Good. So we go from quieter to louder, and it just makes for a little bit more fun while the your other friends are going to be playing whole notes there. All right, from the beginning. And this one starts with the 3 triplets as pickup notes as well. So we're going to count in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 coming in on beat 4. You going to start us off here?
Yeah. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3.
be a good one for a solo or a small group at a concert. All right, we're now taking a look at the third song, which is the theme from Jeopardy. And this will be more, your part is not difficult, but it is kind of fun for the other people to play. The audience will giggle and laugh as they go, oh, I know that song. But it looks a little weird. So, Mr. Rivera, why don't you take us through? What do we have here on number 19?
Of course, yeah. So, of course, like what we've been doing before, the X's on top are going to be the rim. So, you can play it right here on the rim. I know a lot of us tend to have metal drums or, of course, have the lugs on the side. So, you can click the side of the drum for those rims, too. For our little playthrough, I'm going to click the side of the drum. And then you see where it says cross stick. Instead of our regular quarter notes on the drum head, we're going to do a little cross stick where the back of your stick is going to be on the drum, and it's always going to be touching the drum head, and then you're just going to come down with the top of the stick on the rim. So it's going to be a little bit of the rim on the side, and our cross stick across the drum.
Yeah, so it sounds like a clock for a Jeopardy thing. Yeah, very good. The only other thing that I really don't see very often in elementary is called a rim shot. While we're at it, why don't you just show them the rim shot?
Yeah, so the rim shot is where you're going to be, instead of with the rim cross stick going from the drum head to the rim, you're going to kind of flip it. It's going to be the drum head and the rim.
And you can hit it both with that one stick. All right, here we go. So we got rim, cross stick, and then when we get to measure 4, back on the regular head, and then measure 5, back to the rim and cross stick, and then back to on the drum head on measure 7. Hey, let's do it. Here we go. Bum, bum. Okay, I'm sorry, you're counting off. Go ahead.
1, 3, 1, 2. Here we go.
And of course you see that triplet again showing up there in measure 9. Very good. All right, I'm switching over to the Alpha 2 pages, and we're going to be looking at 27, 28, 29. Shake It Off is the next one. Mr. Rivera, we got a couple of things there. Let's look at measure 3 just to show them what's going on there. I'm not sure they've seen that before.
All right, so like with measure 2, we have the both together coming down of 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So on 3, we're going to have to double those up together to make that happen. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's going to have that 2 and together.
So in case you've never done that before, a lot of old rock beats have that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Every other measure has that. If that confuses you, start with just the drum hits using just your left hand or just one hand. 1 and 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Just to practice that, and then you can add the other and do it slowly. What happens in measure 8 there, at the end of measure 8, Mr. Rivera?
So that right there would be a good thing to get the rhythms on its own of just the right hand of 1 and 2 and 3 and then putting the drum with it. 1 and 2 and 3 and.
So those last 3 are going to be both at the exact same time?
Yes.
All right, play that for them.
Okay.
Good. And that rhythm mirrors what your friends are going to be playing, so it makes a little more sense when that's going on there. Other than that, I think we're good to go on that. Anything else you see there?
No.
All right. Let's do this. Shake It Off. First note. All right. By the way, the beginning of yours is you get a flam for beat 1, and then everybody else comes in on bum, 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 while you're doing the click, click, click. And then measure 2, we get really into what we call the groove part of that. All right. I've got a bunch of markings on mine. I think I can read my music. Let's try it here. All right, go ahead. Count us off.
1, 3, 1, 2, ready, and.
and again, we're taking kind of a medium tempo. Feel free to speed it up. Most songs sound a little better when you go a touch faster. Don't try to go out of control. There are a few songs that sound good slow as well. Medium is what we're doing for right now, which works. All right, 28, we got something new you've never seen before. We taught you how to read time signatures, and on this one we got a 5/4, and that's just a little weird. Instead of just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's kind of a tick tock, tick tock. This one we're going to add 5. It's a little weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a little odd. We'll take it a little slower. Hopefully you know the song and you're familiar with it, and that will help. Now, let's take a look at a couple of things. First of all, we have the counting written in measure 1, 5, and 8. And you notice that the 1, the and, the 4, and the 5 are underlined. That's where the snare hits go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Would you play it, Mr. Rivera? Yeah. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. And then in measure 5, we just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Try that. Ready, go. Yeah, so that's going to sound really good with what the other people are playing. And then it's kind of written odd, but measure 8 is really simple. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4, 5, right? All right, the only other thing we got to explain is this number of repeated measures. Would you explain that, Mr. Rivera?
Yeah, so if you see right underneath is something that's been a little bit on supercalifragilistic as well.
Oh, sorry, I did.
No worries.
Go ahead.
You can see that the repeated number of repeated measures, and there's a little 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Mission Impossible.
In parenthesis there, yeah.
So you're going to take that first measure, that's the first repeated measure, and then you can see on measures 2, 3, and 4, that's your little 1 measure repeat sign. So we're just saying to repeat that 1 measure, and those little 1, 2, 3, 4 in parentheses, that's just to help you count how many times you've played that measure over.
Yeah, you're going to see this a gazillion times in drum music. So what happens is you memorize 1 measure, and then in your brain, just like when we count multi-measure rests, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Same thing here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 3 and 2 and 3. And it's just a little easier to follow 1, 2, 3, 4 in the parenthesis above it. You won't need to read every note or look at every measure. It's a little easier way to take care of this. And if it's not written in there for you, then this shows you how you can write it in when you have repeated measures. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. I think that's it. Yep. All right, here we go. 1, we'll take it nice and slow. Go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4, and...
So, a little tricky, but it's a fun one, and that's another one that can be played different speeds, and it sounds good. Moving on to Happy. Now, on this one, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to play different. There's an A and a B part. I'm just going to play kind of the melody stuff so you know what's going on there. What do you got there, Mr. Rivera? Anything? We got the 1 measure repeat sign, and we see it multiple times all the way through. This is a very traditional way of looking at drum music. They give you a groove, you keep it for a while, then measure 5 is what we call a fill, something kind of fancy, and then something else starts going on, get another groove, and then a little fill. We ready?
All right, yeah.
All right, let's see if I can follow along on this as well. One, bum, ba, da. Do you have anything, or are you doing the pickups with me?
Just that straight down. 1.
Oh, yeah, so again, so you guys are going to give the kind of just the beginning, flam, bum, 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 and then we'll all come in together there. All right, count me off.
1, 3, 1, 2, ready, and...
we now move to some songs from Alpha 3, and the first one is Raiders. And Raiders is just a straightforward military type snare drum thing. We got a couple of things that are odd there. Show them measure 3, 4, 5, and 6, Mr. Rivera. What's going on there?
Yeah, so if you see right now, it changes a little bit towards the top. It says number of 2 measure repeats. So we're going to look at 5 and 6 first. You can see it has the repeat sign and then a 2. So that means to repeat the previous 2 measures. So you'll see up in that little 1 parentheses, there's that where we're starting our 2 measure repeat, and it goes all the way 3 and 4 are going to be your 2 measure repeats. So whenever you jump into measure 5, you're playing 3 and 4 again. So 1, and then again right there at 5. So
yeah, so that's a little tricky, but sometimes they do that. They'll give you, sometimes they'll even give you 4 measure repeat signs. So whatever that number on top is, it means repeat that many measures in front of that. And then we also have something a little odd. Well, you see back to a single measure repeat in measure 8 and 9, or 9 and 10 like we did before. And then we have a kind of a weird rhythm in measure 9. Would you explain that?
Yeah, so not looking at our roll right now on measure 9, looking at the one next to it. So it's an dotted 8th note and then that 16th note happening. So that is just your regular 4 16 notes, 1 E and A, but it's only the first and the last, 1 A. So 1 E and A, 1 A.
Yeah, so the roll would be roll 2, a 3, 4, a 1. So tz, dot, tz, dot, tz, dot. Would you play that?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good. All right. So if you've gotten to the back of the blue book, you have learned that dotted 8/16, and that's how it fits in with that moment there. All right. I think we are ready. Do I have mine here? Yes. 1 and a 3. Right. Here we go. Yeah. Count us off.
Yeah. 1, 3, 1, 2, ready, yeah?
Yeah, just straightforward military marching drum stuff. Very cool. Like it. All right, Incredibles. Now we have the ba 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 dum, and we see another crescendo in measure 2. We see the repeated measures in measures 6, 7, 8, and I think it's just good stuff.
Yeah, real quick, one thing to notice on measure 2, that crescendo isn't starting at the beginning of the measure. So that first quarter note is still going to be a nice big quarter note. So from the beginning, bum, 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 big. Then you build it up. So that first flam at the beginning of 2, that's going to be big, and then you're going to drop down for the rest.
Yeah, let's play those first 2 measures for us.
All right.
Dun, 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 dun.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There we go. All right, well, let's try this, shall we? Oh, by the way, that crescendo is matching what your friends are going to be playing as well. Da da bum ba dum, bum bum bum, and we move on from there. All right, let's take it kind of a little slower on this one. This is a little trickier one, and you can play slow or fast on it. All right. One other thing, take a look in measure 3. The drum beat's a little different because instead of it really being like a backbeat snare like you see in measure 5, it's more of what the kick drum do. 1 and 2, dum dum dum, bum 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 flam. Would you play that measure 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. There we go.
1, 3, 1, 2, ready, yeah?
Nice, nice, very fun. I like that a lot. All right, lastly, The Simpsons. And we have The Simpsons, and that's where you see there we have the drag. Would you show them the drag, Mr. Rivera? All right, so you just have the little buzz right before the tap. And the tap is the one that comes right on the beat. Crescendo in measure 11. I don't see anything. We got a couple of repeated measures. I don't see anything else. You see anything else?
No.
All right, let's do it. Make sure I'm looking at the right piece here. Oh, you have nothing on beat 1 and 2. We're all coming in on beat 3. Mm-hmm. The Simpsons. Boom. All right, here we go. Go ahead.
1, 3, 1, 2.
Good. And at the end you saw both of those, both right and left hand hitting together in measure 12. I will tell you, that one's a touch tricky because the rhythms that we're playing, the rhythms that you're playing, are actually a little different there. We got some different syncopation going on there. Very cool, but a little tricky, so keep working on that. All right, there they are. There's some fun songs. Have fun with that. If you have any questions, talk to your teacher. See you later. Bye.